Politics as usual.
We're politicking up in here right now.
And with that, my friends, the star was born.
So let's talk some politics.
We're doing everything that you think we are doing inside of that house. They just went right back in the house and started playing the game again.
On Magic 102.3 and 92.7.
The real sound of the DMV.
Time for a little politickin. You know, protests erupted across the country this weekend, but what's really behind the outrage and what does it mean moving forward? Now, we've seen the viral clips, but joining us now with the bigger picture is award-winning political journalist and freelance reporter Kirstin Garriss. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, you probably saw it all over social media or even saw these protests in your own backyard. We're talking about those No Kings protests. They happen peacefully across the United States, but even overseas. So we're talking about places like Germany and even France were all protesting over the weekend. Now, according to NPR, organizers estimate that more than 5 million people participated in more than 2,000 planned demonstrations. So we're talking about big numbers here. And you talked about it. There were definitely some viral moments, but these protests were really in response to the current administration's military parade that happened in D.C. over the weekend. But a big focus was also pushing for democracy and pushing against and standing up against dictatorship. This also comes after we've seen all those ICE raids across the country, especially on the West Coast, and we've even seen protests happening in California in response to those ICE raids as well. So a lot happening in the country, kind of fueling these demonstrations. Organizers also were accusing the president of putting up that full-scale military parade as a sign of dominance. It also coincided with the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army, but it is worth noting we really don't see these peacetime military parades often in the U.S. It's really rare. So the event itself drew a lot of criticism in the political world, especially from the president's political rivals. Now, taking a closer look at just who was in these demonstrations, who was a part of it, this was really a coalition of more than 200 organizations. So different groups that you may have heard of before: Move On, the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, the American Federation of Teachers, and Communications Workers of America. Now, while we saw everyday folks there, even some celebrities jumped in there because, again, you're kind of seeing how people across socioeconomic status and, again, even Hollywood to national politics are getting involved with this. So we saw actresses like Kerry Washington, Jennifer Lewis, Natasha Rothwell all posted themselves on social media with their signs, joining crowds in these protests. Now, it's worth noting there were no official planned protests here in D.C. However, the night before that parade, U.S. Capitol Police tell us that they arrested about 60 protesters who were rushing down and pushing down barriers and barricades, and then also ran toward the rotunda. Those officials say that those 60 folks will be charged with unlawful demonstration and crossing a police line. Now, staying here in D.C., a lot of us know this Thursday, it's a big holiday. It's Juneteenth, and it's still a federal holiday. So that means federal buildings, banks, all of them are going to be closed. As you may recall, former President Joe Biden made Juneteenth a federal holiday back in 2021, and it commemorates the ending of slavery. Now, as the current administration pushes to end federal diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI initiatives nationwide, some people may be wondering whether Juneteenth will really be celebrated and embraced as a federal holiday nationwide. And guys, it really depends on where you live. Here in the DMV area, there are a lot of events planned for Thursday, but some cities have decided to cancel their events because of the political pushback. So a lot to watch here when it comes to how Juneteenth will be celebrated here and across the country.
Yes, Kirstin, thank you so much. You can read her latest work in The Guardian, but also let folks know where they can follow you on social media.
Yes, I keep it simple. I'm Reporter Garriss on all of my social media. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, or whatever we're calling it, and then TikTok. So you can find me there.
Thank you, Kirstin. Looking forward to speaking with you again. Appreciate you.